Welcome to this special edition of the CEO's Open Discussions Corner at PortfolioWealthGlobal.com. My name is Michelle Holliday. Today, we are honored to be welcoming to the show Mr. RANA VIG. RANA is the founder and CEO of Blue Lagoon Resources, which is a minerals exploration company focused upon acquisition, exploration, and development of properties for the mining of gold and other resources. With precious metals entering a bull market, we're watching this sector very carefully, and whenever a company catches fire, we reach out to the CEO to invite them to come on the show to talk about it. RANA has over 30 years of experience launching highly successful businesses, including minerals exploration and even cannabis. So this is going to be a very interesting show. RANA, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for having me.
We are thrilled to have you here. And I want to mention right off the bat that our spectacular team has created a very interesting and popular so far detailed report about your company. We originally created it for our own audience. However, it's had a lot of downloads already. It can be found at the link at PortfolioWealthGlobal.com/blue, because this company is on fire. We want to start off right now, though, with the big picture, RANA, including gold and also the impact of inflation. Everybody knows that gold is already trading at all-time highs. So what kind of impact will the Federal Reserve's recent announcements regarding the low inflationary expectations have upon gold, if any effect at all?
Oh, I think it's going to have a huge effect. Gold is just starting, to make its move, in my opinion. Let me give you a news flash. Governments lie. They lie all the time, right? And what's happening here again is, they're pushing the interest rates down. Right now we're at zero. These are false economies, right? How long can it last? I mean, think about it, right? So I'll give you a simple example, right? When I was growing up, my dad's a civil engineer. He's retired now. In the 70s, his income was about $45,000 a year. The house that we bought at the time was about the same. It was about $45,000. Today engineers make about $85,000 when they start out. And you know what the same house is? Over $1 million. So they keep doing this to us, right? They keep changing all these numbers, jigging these numbers around to try to fool us. But the bottom line is, when you go to the store, how do you get fooled? Cup of coffee is like $8. You go to Starbucks or whatever. You know what I mean? I mean, it's crazy, right? I mean, it's just So is it going to have an impact on gold? Yeah, because they keep printing money. They keep devaluing money. And that is what gold loves, right? That environment, right? So gold has got nothing but up to go, in my opinion. Long ways to go yet.
Right. Now, you mentioned the negative interest rates. And RANA, they've already come to the United States. Most people don't realize that they're already here, but they indeed are. What do you think the reaction of baby boomers will be when they realize this as they start to retire in massive numbers?
Well, I'm in that, category as myself, so what's it doing? It's waking us up, right? I mean, the story's been told for a long time, right? We keep hearing this all the time, that listen, the dollar is weakening, right? Our purchasing power is weakening. And I think baby boomers are starting to, understand that more and more, and the younger generation as well, because ultimately you've got to figure out a way to preserve your wealth, because how are we going to make it here, right? If the basic necessity of life keep going up higher and higher, yet our incomes aren't increasing, right? So I think that that shock factor, is here. I mean, everyone's realizing it, and that's one of the reasons why gold and silver, these traditional precious metals that have hold value are becoming more and more important.
RANA, let's talk about silver. Now, it has moved in an amazing way over the past 6 months. Just in July, that happened to be the best week in history for silver, which is extraordinary. Do you think that we're going to continue to see and meet these record conditions for silver?
Absolutely. if you look at what's happening around the world, if you look at let's look at institutions, right? All major institutions got to file with the SEC what's called a 13F every quarter. They got to tell what they're investing in, and some serious players have come in. Morgan Stanley, UBS, Wells Fargo, Barclays, Bank of America. The list just goes on and on. These are all major institutions who just recently jumped into silver for the first time. Right. So what is that going to do? Right. More and more attention is coming to the metal. More and more people are buying it. And, traditionally, silver is known as the poor man's gold. Right. So, you can't afford $2,000 an ounce. Well, making, afford $20, for silver. Right. Yeah. So all that's is creating demand. Right. And again, silver, people are projecting that to be well over $50 from everything I'm reading.
Beautiful. Now, Rita, let's touch on the elections just for a moment coming up in November. When it comes to gold, does it matter which party wins?
I don't think so. I think that you're kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't, right? I mean, you got the the Republicans, and if we keep on this current trajectory, regardless of your political affiliation or views, right? We keep on this trajectory. It's a divided nation, right? I mean, I can't ever remember. Can you a time in our lifetimes when there was so much chaos, right? You got demonstrations going on, you got riots going on, it's just unbelievable, right? And on top of that, you've got COVID. I mean, who could have predicted this, right? A world pandemic, happening. So I don't think it matters. You got the Republicans. If you continue that path, I think we're going to continue to see this unrest. You got the Democrats. They come into they're on the left, so you're going to see massive spending. So either way, I think those are great environments for precious metals, right?
You know what? I want to turn to your company now, Blue Lagoon Resources. You are the founder and CEO, and there are some very interesting details surrounding your company. For one, you were able to purchase it without spending any cash, and for about half of what the previous owners had already spent on the company. So tell us your story of how you acquired Blue Lagoon Resources.
Well, it was timing, a lot of patience, and tough negotiations. It's funny, you don't realize what you learn as a kid. I'll share something with you. When I was a kid, I'm from an immigrant family. So, when we got here and, my dad, we'd go to I was like 12, 13, 14 years old, we'd go to Sears, and my dad would bargain with the guy or with the lady, right? And I'm kicking him into the things. Dad, buy the shirt. You don't bargain at a department store.
You're all embarrassed,
right? Of course, right? But he got the deal every time. Every time the guy, the person with the sales, individual would give him some sort of a deal. So you never forget that, right? Those are lessons that you learn as a kid, and then you apply them in your life. And so it was a lot of tough negotiations. We kind of stuck to our guns, and so we were able to pull together a very, very attractive deal, for our shareholders. And timing, we started talking to the sellers back in when gold was around 1450, about 5 months ago, and there wasn't this momentum going on, and just a lot of patience. So we're very fortunate. We really got an incredible deal, no cash, all stock, an incredible value for our shareholders for sure.
Oh yes. Now I want to talk about your project called Dome Mountain. Mm-hmm. For a moment. I understand that you have about 85,000 ounces of mineable gold under the current life of that mine. But in reading our own researchers' report, which is absolutely fascinating, that's been put together for our audience, it looks like only a fraction of that property has even been explored. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. So, many people, when they look at this project, are quite stunned by that, right? Because it's a massive property. It's like 12,000 hectares. Like it's just huge. But the reason is because this company was a private company, and they had over 1,200 shareholders, and their complete focus was on mining. They wanted to mine and get the gold out and, become profitable and pay out dividends. And that's a very typical scenario of a private company. So they did not focus on exploration at all. So which is great for us. We already know what's there. We already know what they have or we have now, and it gives us an opportunity to explore that 90% of land that is available. Because that is how you grow shareholder value, right? So if somebody gets in today, at the stocks at whatever it's at today, 50 or 60 cents, how do you grow that? How do you grow that market cap? Well, my job as CEO is go and execute on our plan, and to, it's all about playing with Mother Nature, right? We know the gold's there. We know the silver's there, right? It's kind of like a fancy Easter egg hunt, right? We got to go look around, use all our scientific, technology to be able to say, all right, that's where we got to point the drills to find what we're looking for. So yeah, we're very excited that 90% of this land is still yet to be explored, and that's why we're very confident that we have a long ways to go yet with this company.
That's incredible. It's got to be unusual to acquire a piece of land where you already know that much gold is there. 85,000 ounces, it's there. And then to find out 90% of the land hasn't even been looked at. So as an exploration company, I'm sure that was an explosive find for you.
Yeah, we're very excited about it. That's again, that's part of my skill set. That's what I need to do. I need to be out there looking to see, how do I what's the deal? Again, how do I add value? How do I increase shareholder value? So if somebody becomes a shareholder today, how do I make sure that they're going to be a very, very happy a year from now, right? So yeah, we're very excited about this.
Now, Rana, in terms of the raw numbers, what are the numbers for the 12 years of production at Dome Mountain, and how does that measure against your own market cap right now?
Well, really, the market cap our market cap right now is around $43 million, right? And the numbers, if you look at it, they're hard to determine a fixed ratio right now because the price of gold, of course, is moving, right? So if you look at it, if you do some simple math, right, that's what you really want to take a look at. Look, our market cap right now is around 43 million. As an investor, looks at it and comes in, they determine, are they bullish on gold, right? If they believe Bank of America, for example, right, just recently said that they project gold will be at $3,000 next year, right? So, you just do the math, right? We're at 1950 today, it's going to be, if you believe that, right? That you believe that it'll be $2,500 or $3,000, right? Does this company or any, does this, our company or any other company have an opportunity, to grow? Well, it's not rocket science, right? You say, hey, it's worth this much today. If the price of gold, goes to there, obviously the company's going to make more money, which means it'll be more profitable.
Huge. There are so many interesting things about your company, and they're detailed in that report. And I want to remind everybody of the link. It's portfoliowealthglobal.com/blue. And it's just incredibly interesting because I'm just going to bring up one more point that is in it. It's fascinating that you have 4 ounces of silver to every 1 ounce of gold, which is great. But it's even more interesting that the cost of producing the gold already simultaneously covers the cost of producing the silver, which actually makes the silver free. Now, I found that amazing within this report. Is that the best way to look at this?
Yeah, it's interesting because traditionally a lot of companies that are in the gold environment don't even look very seriously at the silver because silver for the longest time was not that attractive. It wasn't moving at new highs or new levels, so that people were often kind of just discounting it. But now everyone's talking about silver, and silver is moving, and it's just doubled just in the last few months. and expected to go much higher. So yeah, so our property has kind of a little over 1-to-4 ratio, and of course all our costs are determined right on the gold. So we take the material, we send it off to the mill, they process it, the cost doesn't change, right? And we've got the gold and we got the silver. So as the price of silver keeps going up, that's incredible for us because it's essentially free.
That's
so
amazing.
My dad would love that. My dad would love that even more. Not even that's just a bargain, but free. He loves free.
Free. Now, how many companies find gold with their silver?
It's normal. It's quite normal because you have in the material, right? I mean, it's often polymetallic. So you'll have gold, you'll have silver, you'll have zinc, you'll have copper, right? And if the price of those, copper is starting to go up as well, right? As the electric car movement, strengthens, right? I drive a Tesla. I love some of the best car I've ever had, right? It's just an unbelievable. Because it's 4 times more copper goes into an electric car than a normal car. So as all these, as the world changes, right, and these commodities become more and more valuable, operations like ours, if we have the copper, I mean, we don't have so much copper here, but to your point, to your question, there's often it's there's other it's often it's polymetallic, right? There's more metal, more in there than just the gold.
Right. And as an exploration company, as you go from property to property and project to project, as the CEO finding these great properties, I'm sure you'll be looking for copper in the future. It's just such an exciting sector to watch right now, right? Well,
it's interesting you said that because, part of the deal that we made when we acquired Dome Mountain, actually, there was another property that had in it, which is copper. So right next to our main property, the Dome Mountain, there's another property that we got included for free, as part of the deal, is a big copper porphyry, and it's a big copper property, and I'm looking to see how I can monetize that, 100%. So we got some exciting things going on with Blue Lagoon.
Oh boy, I was just going to ask you to name some of your other properties in your company, what they own, and if you have an exit strategy for them at the moment.
Yeah, so that's one. It's called the Big Onion. That's the copper property that sits right next to our Dome Mountain. So
the Big Onion?
Yeah, it's called the Big Onion. It's interesting, right? So so we're looking. We already got other companies looking at it. So we'll figure out, are we going to advance that ourselves, or somebody comes in and writes us a check. I'm a big believer of focus, right? So I've got to laser beam focus. So what I really want to do is really focus on Dome Mountain and get this mine into production at the earliest, as well as explore all that area that we have, so that we can find more gold and silver. And then we'll do something with this Big Onion, and then we have another property that we're looking to figure out how to monetize that here later this year or early next.
And what's the name of that? If this one's Big Onion, I'm really...
Yeah, that one's not as exciting. It's called Peller. But, a lot of these properties have a very interesting name. I'm not sure how they name them, but right. But I've often found that quite interesting how they come up with the names of some of these properties.
Now, Blue Lagoon Resources is a junior mining company. And Rana, are there any shareholders that are considered to be big mining tycoons?
Yeah, without getting too much into their privacy, there are. But I'll tell you what it is. We're a very under the radar company, right? This is only one of my very first interviews. We have not talked a lot about this company because, one of the things when I got involved in the capital markets a few years ago, one of the things I discovered was these junior venture companies are often undercapitalized. So what I wanted to do was really focus and make sure first that we had the money to execute on the plan, because I can sit here and talk about we're going to do this and we're going to do this. If I don't got no money in the bank, what am I going to do, right? So just a couple of weeks ago, we closed on $7.5 million, and that is going to now allow me to execute on the plan. So what I'm getting at is that very few people really know about our company, and we're just starting to. And I think you're going to see a lot of serious investors starting to take a look at us because how do they know we even exist unless we get wonderful people like you telling our story, right?
And we're so excited to have you here. We've been watching your company, and it's an extraordinary explosive. And I want to go into your background just briefly, because at the top of the show I mentioned cannabis. We have a lot of viewers that are very interested in cannabis. And just to give a little bit of your background, talk about your experience within that sector.
I had quite an interesting experience in that sector. Actually, when I got involved in the capital markets about 10 years ago, I started in mining, but mining, of course, didn't do so well for quite a while. And in 2018, cannabis was extremely hot. So I decided to, really focus on that. And I was very, very privileged to find a company called Curaleaf, and out of the Eastern United States. And I took them public. Curaleaf was the largest Canadian cannabis raise in history. It was a $520 million raise. It was almost a $6 billion RTO. So I took that public. And then shortly after that, a couple months later, another group came to me who had an oil and gas company, believe it or not. And they said, hey, you know what? We haven't made any money on this thing for 10 years. And we heard some good things about you, and we heard what you did with the Curaleaf. How about you work with us? So I took over as CEO of that company and got, again, very, very focused, and found a company called Harvest Health and Recreation out of Arizona. And I took them public in 2018, late 2018, and that was the third largest raise in 2018. There was a $300 million raise and nearly a $2 billion market cap company, an RTO that we did. So it was very, very exciting times, and privileged. And now I decided, I think gold is where to be. So my next focus has become, Blue Lagoon Resources, and I want to laser beam focus on this now and make this my next big win.
I think you're right. I think it is the place to be. I just wanted to lay the groundwork for everybody about your own background. It's diverse, but it's spectacularly successful. So before we go, I'd like for you to please mention your tickers and where you trade and how everyone can get in touch with you.
Sure. So in Canada, our ticker is BLLG, and in the US, it's BLAGF. And, you can certainly go to our website, www.bluelagoonresources.com. And there, you'll find a link to an email, which will eventually make its way out to me. I'm a very, very engaged CEO. I believe in speaking to all my shareholders, large or small. I think that's a very sacred duty that I have. And I'm always available. They can reach out to me or our team, and I'm happy to answer any questions. And the key is always do your due diligence, right? Always look at it, right? Because how do you get ahead in today's world, man? I mean, my kids were asking, I have two boys. They were asking me the other day, Dad, what do we do? I have a 21-year-old and 27-year-old, right? And, the key is you've got to get involved in something. And right now, I think gold is the new cannabis. You saw how exciting that whole market was, right? I'd wake up every morning and I would look at my portfolio jump 7%, 10%, 20%. It was incredible. I'm like, what is going on? And that's the mass herd mentality. And I believe that's what's about to happen in gold. You may have seen just recently Warren Buffett, one of the greatest financial minds of, in the world of our times, right? He just jumped into gold. Right. And he was always against gold. So when you got people like that jumping in, right, there's going to be a huge momentum, in my opinion. And if anyone's ever thought about, getting involved, and then not just in our company, in any company, in this sector, this is the time.
Rana, this has been an amazing interview. Thank you so much for coming on this show today to introduce your company to all of us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Mr. Rana VIG, CEO and founder of Blue Lagoon Resources, which we have profiled in our special report at portfoliowealthglobal.com/blue. For the CEO's Open Discussions Corner, I'm Michelle Holliday at portfoliowealthglobal.com.